Welcome to the girls, everyone. Another exciting show. And Mom, I know you look forward to the backgrounds that I provide you with. Today it's the girls.
Yes, you always have exciting backgrounds because you change them with your computer, but mine remains the same. However, today in my background, I have a Mother's Day gift that I had received from Sammy because he knows how much I love pineapples. So everybody's been buying me these pineapple things, which are great. I mean, I eat pineapple, but I don't like collect pineapples. Anyhow, this one's really cool. If you could see it here, it's a snow globe bottom, and this is all carved out like a pineapple. And then there's a motor in here, and it sends all these pretty sparkles around, and the top is a candle holder. So I thought that would look so pretty on there. And with pineapples, I always think of tropical and not really going on a vacation, but if you were to go to the beach, what would you pack in like your survival kit? What do you take when you're going to lay out either by the pool or by the beach, or like, what's your thing?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because Alyssa will be graduating from high school. So we're actually going on a family vacation to Florida. And I thought about what we wanted to bring because the suitcases and carry-ons, the prices are so expensive. So I am bringing 2 tops like this, 2 tank tops, 2 pairs of shorts, 2 dresses that are cotton, 2 swimsuits.
Oh, you're taking too much. Two.
And 1 pair of flip-flops and 1 pair of like kind of high heels, just in case we want to go somewhere.
Well, what do you take down? Like, what do you put in your bag before you go down to the pool or the beach? Like I have, of course, the sunglasses, and then you have to have the floppy hat because you have to make sure you don't get the sun all over you. And then it's the suntan lotion, and like, what do you take?
I wing that part. I just stuff whatever in the bag.
Well, I got the neatest thing. I just found these at the dollar store, of course, my favorite place to shop. These sunglasses are actually reading glasses.
No.
So what do you like to do at the pool? I like to read a book.
Drink.
Yeah, you like to drink. And over there with the book.
I don't need reading glasses for the pool. Well, I read enough. I read enough during the day. Well, I bring suntan lotion, tissues, because you're not going with me and I always ask you for tissues. A towel. Isn't that funny? Every time I'm with you, I ask you for a tissue. And every time I see tissues now, I always think of you and laugh. And that's pretty much it. And money to buy something tropical at the swim up bar.
Well, what about your lip gloss? You always have that.
Oh yeah, I always have. Always.
You have to have the lip gloss.
That's like attached to you though. You said to the beach. Sometimes I won't bring it. I won't bring this to the beach. I'll just bring like chapstick.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to go with these glasses on. Now I know why all the stars wear them when they're in all the lights, because you don't have all that glare. But today I have a real good reason for putting them on because, like I said, I like to read books. And now I've been getting into the groove of reading. We've had some fabulous authors on this season. We've had some great talented people. And again, today we have Suzanne Baltzar. And this is the release of her latest book. It's called Hating Mr. Perfect. Now, if that doesn't grab you to want to read it, I mean, look at it's a romance novel. So we're not going to let Suzanne wait too long. We have her zooming to us from Allentown, Pennsylvania. She's no stranger to our area because her mother, Alice Marcicano Duran, was from Hazleton, and she graduated from high school with me.
Very nice. Well, we'll meet her next. We'll talk about the book. Highlights a local person here, again, living in Allentown, Pennsylvania, but is from the greater Hazleton area. So stay with us right here. You're watching The Girls on SSP TV.
Welcome back to The Girls, and as promised, we have a fabulous author for you today. We have Suzanne Baltzar. I mentioned earlier, if you missed it, that Suzanne is a native of the Allentown area. Her mother, Alice Marcicano Duran, had gone to high school with me here in Hazleton, so I know her very well and the family very well. And Suzanne, you're an author of a new book, and you just released a new book. It's called Hating Mr. Perfect. So we're going to talk with Suzanne today about, first of all, Suzanne, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
And I was reading your bio that you started your story. You began when you were first published in 5th grade. What the heck? 5th grade. In 5th grade, I was just like outside playing volleyball.
Well, I like to say that as a joke. Well, I really am published in a poetry anthology for 5th graders in 1997. And it was just like a little haiku. And so I like to tell everyone, you know, like I'm a published poet.
What year was it, Mom, that I won for the writing for the pro-life? How old was it?
I
Was it high
believe
school?
we were like 7th or 8th grade, something.
Oh, okay. You beat me on that, but I also like to write. And again, being a journalist, I guess you do, but I don't write books just yet. But I always joke with my mom that I'm going to write a book one day. I can't tell you the name of the book because I didn't have it copyright yet. But when my book comes
And
out,
I'd have to bleep it out.
don't be giving away my secrets. Anyway, when my book comes out, I'll let you proofread it.
Yeah, okay.
Well, Suzanne, you have not only been an author, but you also you owned a cinema and you wrote a short film.
So I managed an art house cinema.
Okay, I have you as the owner. You just got a promotion.
And then, yeah, I was a filmmaker for a few years.
And what inspired you to switch over to writing?
Well, I always wrote as a kid. I was writing. My brother and I were big readers, and he was a writer, and I had to do everything my big brother did. So then I tried to write. I was on, in the high school newspaper, which is where I happened to meet my best friend. Back then, we were just sort of acquaintances, and she was my editor of the newspaper. And so I'd hand my articles to her, and she would red pen through them. And then we ended up going to college together, and after we had graduated, we were just sitting around talking about, all the silly things that we've done. And wouldn't this make like a really funny movie? Well, yeah, okay, so then let's write it. So then the two of us started writing scripts together.
That was great. What was the first script?
It was sort of like a rated R, like Laverne and Shirley kind of movie.
I like it already.
And then we wrote a whole bunch, and we would go out to LA and try to pitch with producers, and nothing ever came about. So I wrote a script and I handed it to her in 2012, and she said, well, we should just do it ourselves. We should just make this ourselves. So we decided that's what we'll do. We'll just make the movie ourselves.
How expensive is that? It's not as easy as you think. It's like doing a TV show. People have ideas that they don't understand, or they might not have a good grasp on how much it actually costs to produce a show before you actually make money on that show. So tell us about that process, because it's easier said than done.
Yeah, so we opened up the film company, and we did a Kickstarter, which that's still around, but this was like the peak of Kickstarter. And so we got our film money from there. It was not enough because we needed to extend filming. So we opened up credit cards, and my parents wrote a check to me. So it was a shoestring budget. I mean, we were like giving people hot dogs on set. We didn't have any big chef come in and make us food and things, but we got it done. It was, movies cost millions and millions of dollars, and it was less than $50,000 to make our film. So
well, it sounds like the making of your movie also sounds like it could be a book as well. And the characters that are in. Where do you get your inspiration for, let's say, the characters in your book? Are these people maybe that you know and you sort of just feed off of there? Do you meet people who you think could be a character? What gives you that inspiration? Because I mean, you have such a great description of these characters that they come to life in my mind when I'm reading your books.
That's a great question. I mean, you never know where you're going to find inspiration. A few years ago, I was taking a class and they said, it's your inspiration well. You never know where it's going to come from. And so it's different books you read, it's people you meet, it's just walking down the street and seeing something that's interesting. So you never really know where it's going to come from.
So you're constantly jotting on your hand or any piece of paper that you have like a.
Yeah, in my cell phone, I have notes in my cell phone. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So are your books fiction? All of your books that you write, are they fiction, or do you have any books that are factual?
They are all fiction.
Okay.
I have thought about writing a memoir. I have not done it yet, but there's one book that I wrote that's like loosely based on my life, a certain event in my life, but it's fiction still.
And your book, how many books have you written so far that have been published and are available for purchase?
So far I have 3 books published. I have
Nice.
3 more coming out this summer.
Oh.
Sideline. Was this your first?
Trouble Brewing was my first.
Wait a minute, I have them in the wrong order. Trouble Brewing.
Trouble Brewing came out in 2018. And then Sideline was the second that came out in 2019. And then there was a couple years where nothing was happening. I was still writing, but just I couldn't get picked up by a publisher. So now I have 4 books coming out this summer.
Now, the thing I like that you have as your promo as well is you have your Trouble Brewing and you have it on the little coaster. It's like, how cute. Trouble Brewing, you put your little beer there and you're drinking. And then your Trouble Brewing Sidelined has both your books on. I like Kissing Books and Smashing the Patriarchy. Love it. Love it. My little book.
The way, and my mom read the whole book. I read parts of the book. The thing that I got out of the book, and maybe if I'm wrong, please correct me, but my grandmother used to read romance books.
Yeah.
And they were all fiction, but she had like series of them. And her books, they were all like romance novels.
Mm-hmm.
Would you tend to write more romance novels that are fiction?
Oh yeah. Yeah. So I write romance and women's fiction. Yeah, they all end up happily ever after at the end.
I like that. That's a good thing. And if someone is watching and they're thinking, hey, I would love to be a writer, I would love to be an author, what's some advice that you can give to someone maybe just finishing college or going through college and they would like to be an author? What are some of the steps they need to take, or what advice can you offer them?
Well, you have to read a lot in whatever genre you're writing. So your audience, what they expect, and you have to just make friends. When I started seriously writing, I didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't have friends to read my stuff, to tell me, to critique it, to tell me if it was good, if it was bad. It was in between until I started actually, I'm not a joiner. I have trouble joining things. I can be pushed into things. So until I started pushing myself to join clubs and writing groups, that's when my writing really grew.
Well, you have
again, networking, like
Yeah.
in any field.
Yep.
You have a great family support there. And I was thinking as I was reading Hating Mr. Perfect, it's a little spicy in here. So what did your mom read these books? What did she have to say about, like, where did you get this stuff from? It just constantly amazes me as to the imagination. And I mean, but it was on track. I'm not saying it was like smut, but it's just a little spicy. So I'm picturing myself as a mother, and I'm thinking, no, my daughter wrote this book. Is this based on true life or what?
Yeah, no, she knows they're spicy. She's read, I'm getting my master's right now. And so I've had her read some of that. because I'm writing it for her. I'm writing it for my mom. And so she's reading that, and I'm going to ask her to read it when it's finished, but that's not going to be spicy. But I know she hasn't read my spicy stuff. Like, I don't want you to read
Skip
it.
over those parts.
But you know what? The spicy stuff fits right in though, because it's part of the story. And it was very tastefully done, if I may say so. The characters are believable. The dialogue is believable. And you create such a story and an interest that I read this in 2 nights. And I mean, you're looking at, a couple hundred pages. It's 291 pages. So this makes me want to go. Now, is this part of a trilogy?
There's going to be 4 total.
Oh, 4.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I'm looking forward to it, because at the end, what I love is you give us a taste in the next book, a couple pages. And I want to tell you, 'cause I'm like, well, what's next? Now, when do I have to get the next book?
Speaking of next, we're going to take a quick break when we come back with Suzanne Baltsar. She is an author and she has several books published, and they're a little spicy, but we like it. We'll be right back. You're watching The Girls.
Welcome back to The Girls. I hope you didn't miss the first segment, because it was just a little spicy, talking about Suzanne Baltzar, our guest. She's an author, and she wrote the most recent book, Hating Mr. Perfect. How'd you get the title?
Well, it's enemies to lovers, and he is a perfectionist. He's a little bit cocky, a little bit arrogant, and everything. He's an engineer. Everything has to be in order. Everything has to be correct.
Yeah.
And she is not. She's a free spirit, and she hates that he's so uptight.
I want to be a character in one of your next books. JEANNINE.
And MOTHER of J.
You can even use my name.
Well, I haven't ever written a book. When I was a young kid, I used to write some poetry, and I always dabble with that. I'm always the one with the puns and whatever. But I was wondering how long does it take you to write a book? Is it different for each one, or how do you get in the zone?
So from start to finish, usually every day I am thinking, I'm in my notebooks and my cell phones writing different notes for all different books, like over a dozen books that I have ideas for. But that's just vaguely imagining plot, character, conflict, things like that. But then when I sit down to plot it out, I have some books that I use to help me plot. And then when I draft, it usually takes about 6 weeks. So I am a fast writer. I don't want to say everyone should only take 6 weeks to write a book, but usually about 6 weeks.
Wow.
Look at all these stars who write all of these songs, and it's like the inspiration comes, and I can only imagine. I remember with the Christian song, it was based off of a life experience, but that was from the heart, and it's a huge song now. So yeah, I guess it can take 6 weeks. You can have a hit book, right? Like a song.
Yeah.
Do you have a certain spot in your house that you have to write in, or can you write anywhere?
I can write anywhere. I like to write in my living room. That's where I've got my comfy couch, my pillow, my blanket. I have a nice window to look out. So.
That's what I
mean.
mean.
Writer's block.
Yes, but I've never had it, thankfully, that it's like, you hear stories about how I haven't been able to write for months. That did happen with COVID, with, the kids and everything being around. But it hasn't really happened since then. And I'm pretty lucky that I've never run into a wall that I couldn't get through.
Good.
Do you hear from some of your readers? Do they give you suggestions, or, do you correspond with anyone who reads your books and critiques them?
They'll, email or on Instagram, DM message or Twitter or something saying, oh, I really loved your book and I'm so excited for the next one. So that's always nice to hear.
Has social media helped you? Has it helped many authors with getting the word out there? Or is it so oversaturated that it's almost a challenge to get recognized?
So I think it's a little bit of both. Mm-hmm. And depending on, I guess, what you like to do, everybody always says, do the social media that you like to do. So I recently got on TikTok.
Nice.
That's the new thing. TikTok is the new thing. So book talkers go on there. And that's just a really quick way to get readers. You know, you put a little 5-second snippet of your book up and they can say, what's the title? Where do I find it? And then they'll just go and get that right away. So that's really exciting because you can see it in real time, like somebody saying, what's your title? And then you know that they're going to get the book.
It is. And how do we get your book? We have about a minute left. You get it on Amazon, right? Your
Yes,
book.
Hating Mr. Perfect is on Amazon. Trouble Brewing and Sidelined is at any of your favorite book retailers, but Hating Mr. Perfect is only on Amazon.
And I love your shirt. If anyone can see at home, they're little pineapples. So you have a theme going on here with the pineapples and my mom.
I'm really thrilled. And I had pineapple teeth before we started the show. And your mom, your parents used to live in Hawaii?
My dad was in the Navy, so they lived
Your
in-
dad. Oh man, that must have been awesome.
Yeah.
We'll have to write a story about Hawaii. Maybe we'll have to come with you.
Yeah, I just have to go there for research.
Exactly. That's what I mean.
Inspiration.
Yeah.
Inspiration.
Yeah.
And under a palm tree looking at the double rainbow. That would give me inspiration.
Exactly. So is this your first TV interview?
For this book, yes.
Yes. Don't forget us when you're writing your book. And be kind. Be very kind.
Jeannine. 2 N's in the middle.
I'll give you all the spicy details.
It was nice having you on. Nice meeting you. If anyone is watching the end of the show, make sure that you support our local authors. You need something to read while you're at the poll or in the airport or on your hobbies, right?
Or sitting at home. How many children? We forgot to say, how many children do you have?
2.
2 kids and furry friends and everything else there, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And a husband. So, all right. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your day. I know you're going swimming now with the kids for swimming lessons. So we'll let you get rocking and rolling as do your mom part. As we all.
Okay,
Bye
thanks for
bye.
having me.
We'll see you next time on The Girls.